Hello, good afternoon, guten Abend. Welcome to Designer by Designer, IALD's new series of one-on-one interviews with and by lighting designers all over the world. My name is Jess Kermidas. I'm with the IALD Washington DC chapter coordinator, and I am joined by Julia Hartman, the coordinator from the Alpine chapter. Together, we are excited to welcome you to the 5th interview in this series with Sarah Richter from our IALD Washington DC chapter and Luciana Alanis from the IALD Alpine chapter. Before we begin, we'd like to thank our sponsors. The Designer by Designer series is made possible through the generous support of our platinum level sponsors, Axis Lighting, Cooper Lighting, Lutron Electronics, Lumen Pulse, and our gold level sponsors, including Lambert Lighting Group, Lumini, Erica Lighting, and our silver level sponsors, Intra Lighting. Today's interview is being broadcast on Zoom and Facebook Live, and is being recorded and will be available later to view on YouTube. So now it is my pleasure to introduce Sarah Richter and Luciana Alanis in the 5th interview of IALD's Designer by Designer.
Thank you, Jess. Hi, Luciana. How are you?
Hi, Sarah. Thank you. I'm fine. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, doing really good.
The introduction, Jessica, as well.
Yeah, very nice. Well, I'm excited to get started with some of these questions. I know we've spoken a little bit before, but I'm really looking forward to getting to know you better and have our audience get to know you better too. So let's start off with a little icebreaker. We've got a few questions, this or that. So I'll just go down the list and let me know what you think. Teamwork or solo?
I would start with solo and then go for the teamwork.
Good. Once you have the idea, I like that. Okay, it's cold or warm?
Or the other. It's hot.
Hot. Okay, I like that. Maybe we should change that instead of warm. Hot is much more, potent. Wine or beer?
None of this. I prefer tonic water.
Tonic water, like with lime?
I don't drink alcohol at all.
Yeah, so tonic with lime is good. I agree. That's like one of my favorite go-tos too. Okay, city or country?
Both as
Both.
well. I love the city, but I also love the country. Yeah.
I know, for different reasons, right? And I think we all kind of experience a little bit of that.
Just for one.
Right.
The nice thing is that we have both in our lives,
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And good lighting in both, hopefully. So white or color?
Color.
Color. Light or shade?
Light.
Rock or jazz? It could be, you could have another.
Rock.
Rock, okay. Mountain or ocean?
I love both. It's a difficult question. I cannot decide on that. Yeah, I love going hiking, skiing and snowboarding, but I also love the ocean and be on the beach and just have a nice look on the water. Yeah.
I know they both, kind of give you a nice break from the hustle and bustle. So I agree. Both of those are either one I'd be happy to go to. Okay, so now into some of the questions that I put together for you. So why don't you tell the audience, where are you originally from?
So I'm originally from Argentina. That's why I have this strange name, Luciana Alanis, which Jessica could not pronounce very well. But everyone has a problem, yeah. And so I'm originally from Argentina. Then I grew up there until I was 10. Then we moved with my family to Germany. Also studied in Germany. And since almost 10 years, I'm in Switzerland. So I'm living and working now in Switzerland.
Wow. Switzerland is such a beautiful place.
Have you been there?
I have. I did a little bit of study abroad. there.
And
When I studied abroad in Rome, we went to Switzerland, not for too long because it was too expensive for college kids. I remember we like shared, you know, me and my girlfriend at the time, we shared like one beer and one pizza for like every meal. That was kind of what we could afford at the time. But gorgeous. I mean, and there you have both mountain and water.
Yes.
Which is
And
why
actually, you know, I'm living in St. Gallen, and so we have a very, like the Lake of Constance, which is the biggest lake there, or the biggest in Europe as well. And very close by are the mountains. So I love going to the mountains and have the water as well. So that's why I cannot decide. It's just both.
Absolutely.
Both or
and.
nothing.
That's right. And so you said that you're practicing lighting design in Switzerland. So that's lovely. Are there a lot of lighting design firms in Switzerland?
No, Switzerland is a tiny country, so we are not so many lighting designers, not like compared to the UK is also a small country, but it's crowded. And I cannot tell you the right number because also there are some small new ones starting up, but I think we are maybe not more than 30. So yeah.
Wow.
It's a small community. So we are, I'm the core coordinator with Julia for the Alpine chapter, and we are trying to have, you know, events with this community, and it's kind of difficult to gather together a lot of people. So for those events.
But it is a tight-knit community, so probably a lot of sharing of ideas and experiences and things like that. So it's wonderful. What was your first experience with light and or shadow?
You know, you made this question, but I was thinking, what was my first experience? I don't remember very well, or I don't have one that impacted me so much. Besides of the fact that I grew up in Argentina, so I'm very addicted to sun and sunlight. My parents, they built the house really according to the daylight sequence, so following up. That's how I'm always looking also for my apartments and houses, that I have a lot of sunlight. So I think this is a very impactful memory that I have. And another one was, I was visiting Argentina. It's like maybe 20 years ago, or even more. It's more. Yeah. Well, and I visited Buenos Aires, which is the biggest city, you know, and Buenos Aires in the nighttime is full of lights. You can just orientate yourself by just watching somewhere up, and then you can see all the skyscrapers and everything. And then we had, after we came out of our barbecue, we had a total blackout. So the whole city was dark. This was very, very impressive, because a city of about 6 million to 10 million people, all dark, in full darkness. There was like not specific areas which were just dark. Everything was dark. And so orientation was really hard. Yeah. You not see, you were just, you know, down to earth again, like feeling, okay, now I can just see what's around myself, and that's it. And then you can figure out that the only light that is working is the car lights. Wow. So cars driving around, of course, everyone stopped because it was impactful for everyone, also for the car drivers. But then I think, luckily we have car lights. Otherwise, it would have been a big mess to get out again of the city. Yeah, but so this was really impressive, I would say, in my life.
Well, yeah, that's like kind of a profound experience. I remember as a young kid, if there was like a hurricane or we lost power, you know, they're kind of interesting moments because you can't use any electronics, right? And when all the power goes out, you kind of stay, you know, sheltered and kind of with your family and almost kind of quiet, like just the sound around you just feels much, you know, if there's a big snowstorm or just any of those kind of storms in the Northeast, and you sort of gather around candles or something like that, because that's what you had. But it is very interesting to think about a city and an urban experience with the power going out in such a significant way. Yeah, it's quite unbelievable.
And today,
okay.
I'm working on public lighting, which is, I think, something that I really am very aware of how it works without light.
Yeah, that's a great first experience. And I have to say that the daylighting in the room that you're in now looks very lovely. You've got this nice basking warm glow on you. So I appreciate that. It's only midday and rainy here in Maryland. So we have a little bit of a different weather going on. Okay, so what did you want to be when you grew up? Did you always want to be a designer, or?
I was kind of feeling that, design or architecture, I was very attracted to. But, in my free time, I was dancing and playing volleyball. So I also was going to, maybe I just get a professional dancer or professional volleyball player. But yeah, it did not go that well as I wanted. So I decided, okay, to continue studying then. And I started with product design because I thought that was more impactful with people. I wanted to work for people or do something that impacts people, to give a message or to help people to have a better life. I don't know.
Yeah, I absolutely relate to that. Do you still do dancing? Do you still dance? Is that something that you enjoy?
I love dancing, but it's just on my free time. I would love to start again to do professional dancing courses, but then you always need one partner who stays there the whole time, who's got to have the same energy and the same passion for it, and that's kind of hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is, that gets back to our question about solo versus teamwork, actually. When it comes to dancing, it can be applied. Oh, so how long have you been in lighting design, in the actual profession?
In the actual profession, I think as soon as I finished my studies from product design, because I was already doing an internship while I was studying, and focused already after my second semester into lighting things. And I think it's now 16 years that I'm in the profession.
Wow, that's amazing. And you've probably seen the profession change a lot as well in the 16 years that you've been practicing lighting.
Yes, but especially, I developed and I proceeded and I changed the areas where I was living and working. And so I think this made the biggest change. Of course, the technology always changing and evolving and developing, but that's something that it doesn't matter in which sector you're working with. This will, it's a normal process. So everything is in change, the whole world. But I think for ourselves as a person or lighting designers, the biggest impact on ourselves and our career is how we move on and what we look for, which projects we like to work with, which countries we like to work in, who are the clients we want to work for. I think this is the biggest development.
Yeah, and it definitely is. I think that's what I love so much about the lighting design profession too, is that you sort of pull inspiration and from different cultures and different, you're always trying to push the envelope and progress to give your clients the best possible product. And it's interesting when you say, about the client and about what kinds of projects you enjoy working on, like that, they get the best version of you as a lighting designer too, if it's really a project type that you're passionate about and a team that you're passionate about working with. It's amazing that having the background that you do of having lived in multiple countries, bringing those experiences and how you probably deal with people too and problems that might come up on a project, probably draw a lot of inspiration from your experiences in different countries. Speaking of different countries, go ahead. What are you going to say?
Yeah, no, I think that was, of course, a valuable or important thing as well, that the fact that I grew up in two countries, with two different languages. So I am very open-minded to cultures, and I can see that wherever we are having different, not very homogeneous groups, it depends a lot on how you talk to each other, how you handle your cultural differences, but also the language differences and challenges. And also we have different desires, everyone has a different good lighting status or level he would define as his good lighting. And I think this is more or less created by your experience and your cultural background as well.
And your opportunity, how open you are. We were talking about that last week, how open you are to new experiences, and actually seeing that the door is open for you to walk through. Opportunities happen, and you just have to kind of grasp them. So I am very interested in learning a little bit more about Alingsås. And I know that you were a volunteer with Jess Kremidas as well. So how did you start in that process? How were you exposed to that experience? How did you become a lead designer there, lead project manager?
I've done so far some other workshops, and I loved really to work with students and to show them what is possible. And I thought going to Alingsås is a great opportunity as well, because I can, it has a very, I would say, technical setup as well. It's very good organized. It's been already very long on the market, this event. So the organization works smoothly. You have a lot of material that you can work on. I was interested in, having professional things as well, to have a great installation. And yeah, mostly I would say I wanted to, again, be with my peers, meet my other lighting designers, colleagues that I maybe don't know, or the ones also that I knew already. It was great to have, again, a meetup, especially after this pandemic. And so that's how I got to know Jess much better, because we knew already from one of the Enlighten conferences, being a coordinator as well for IALD. And it was great to get to know her and all the others. And especially, I think the best outcome of it is just staying in touch with the group of students. I'm still in touch with them, asking how they are doing. Now they are finishing their thesis, so I'm asking where they're going to work. Maybe, some of them are interested in working close by, or at least stay connected. And I think, I love this about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The whole event is great. It's just a lot of inspiration, and being there is just having your closest family around you for such an intensive time of 10 days. I felt like I don't want to leave again. Until today, I miss it. I miss all the people.
That's right. I know.
Now the new designers have arrived, and I was just like, I want to go back. I want to be there as well.
So it's 10 days. What is that process like? Is it
the process it started much earlier. We started actually in March doing the selection of the workshop heads. So you have to apply, and then you have to make a small concept of ideas, depending on which side you will get, because you will have a concept meeting in Alingsås. We were not the lucky ones because we had the pandemic coming up, so we had to do everything online. And it was great because Alingsås Energies, the organizers, they made a lot of videos and showed us a lot of pictures, so we could really enter the space and feel a little bit the atmosphere there, the situation, and then decide and choose one site for our concept and for our installation. So, and then you start making a very rough concept and idea. But I was always focusing, I want my students to create their own idea. I just will have a backup plan, but while I'm there, I will try to help the students to create something by themselves. And I think, yeah, we succeeded quite well. And in the end, I had to tell them it's very similar to my idea. So it's kind of course, you influenced them.
So it worked out.
They did not see any plan and no idea of what I did before. So I was happy. And I think we just came to go with the students, and that was great.
It's also I think it's so important to connect with the younger generation and students, because you know, there's so much out there, I think, that might be like faux creativity, that really becoming part of a group that has stuff in front of you and understanding how it works, and going through that kind of shredding process and sharing ideas and saying, well, is this feasible? And working through maybe multiple ideas, and then, you know, forging forward with one idea. It's good. It's a good lesson in, you know, putting your ideas out there and being creative. And maybe there aren't as many opportunities, you know, with the world being filled with so much stuff, to just be creative and enjoy and have a timeline, right, that you're trying to work towards.
But this is a tough work, you know. They have to decide, and deciding as a student, and also a lot of people, they have problems deciding what to do, what to go for, what is the best, what is not the best. You have just to go for one thing, and while you are proceeding and you're detailing, and you know, always change little things and improve or change, but you have to just get started. And if you're hanging the whole time in this decision process, it's get started. And yeah, of course, in Adidas, it's about the timeline. So it's about getting to the point where the installation starts, and you have to, you know, have stuff on site. So you have to define for the fixtures, you have to sign for the wiring and how everything will work. Then you have to set up, you know, controls, how this will run afterwards, how the effects will look like, when to change things. And also we work with sound designers, so also combine light and sound, which was really important and interesting for the students as well to work with. I think it was great experience. So any student, I can really
it's a great experience.
Go there. It doesn't matter if it's Alingsås or another event, but just make sure you have one experience. And it also doesn't matter if you're, you know, focusing on interior or exterior lighting. It's just worth the actual tight timeline. And absolutely, because this is in every same.
And the question about decision making, I think I'm sure a lot of lighting designers can relate to that, because you know, trying to add value to what we do and being able to help our clients decide on one idea. I was actually just listening to a podcast yesterday about the designer was talking about, like, have conviction in your decisions, you know, and in your ideas. That is what being a designer is all about, not finding the least expensive thing on Wayfair or, you know, but it's coming up with really interesting ideas and then feeling strongly about why you're putting that one forward. So I think that's phenomenal.
Helps a lot to this,
So
what helps a lot to the process, you know, of decision making is that you have to always criticize your own ideas, like be critical, redo it, think again and again, how can it be different? And again, okay, another concept for the same thing. Just, you have to be able, that's the design part of it. You have to be able to make up a lot of different options and variations for one specific place. If you can do so, you're a good designer, because then you have a lot of concept and creativity working in your head, you know. But the point is, if you go for the decision on one thing, find the argumentation for it, because this is when you can convince your client. If the client has a lot of questions, but how is this, and how does it work here, but I don't like this. And then if you're always having, you know, an argument or I would say a sentence for it, why you choose like that, that's a good thing. And you always can also be wrong. You know, the client can tell you, but I don't like this, and I would prefer, you know, to change this and that. And then you can say, you're right. Yes, we will change this. And it still fits in the whole concept. I think you have the openness to let in also new ideas from the client, from whoever, from a colleague who is, you know, changing, having a different perspective on that. I think it's also very important that you always ask a lot of people around the project, especially, for example, when doing public projects. I think the students in Arlington would love now if they can hear me. But, I ask them, go to the neighbors, ring their bell and ask them what they want and how they perceive their area and their place and what they think would be, you know, suiting well the place. Yeah. Because they are using it. It's not about us putting, you know, red paint somewhere. It's just they have to use it. So it has to be somehow human.
Well, absolutely. And none of us are designing in a black box, right? You know, you're talking to an electrical engineer or to an architect. And so there is that sharing of, well, what's important to you and what's important to me, and how are we going to put these things together to create, you know, a working, amazing lighting experience in here. So I think that's fantastic. So as a mentor, do you have any advice that you would, you know, either give to young designers or people that are maybe thinking about, you know, young students, maybe they're in architecture, about, you know, what's it like to be a lighting designer? What's your advice?
My advice in general is just really study and go for things that you like to do. Don't look for things that might get you a lot of money or a lot of, you know, rewards and I don't know, fame. Yeah. Just go for things that you really love, and that, because when it gets hard and tough and difficult and it has problems, you still have to love what you do. So you can only go for the projects and work if you love it. So if you can deal with the problems if you love your work or if you love the project. So yeah, study and find out what you really want in your life. I think that's actually the mindset, or my parents will always give me, you know, this advice for life. Everything what you do it, but you have to be convinced that you really, because then you go, and it's having, you know, if there are a lot of stones on the path, you will step over the stones because you know where you want to go.
That's right.
You wanted to take the path. So I think that's the best advice for a student. Go, but study so that you can be very good in what you're doing as well. And of course, never forget the fun. So be with other people, have fun and dance, because I have done this my whole life. I'm still doing this.
That's right. It worked for you. You've stayed, you know, that course, and whether it's, you know, in design or in lighting or whatever it is, that's sage advice. And it's very clear that you're passionate about what you do. So I love that. Good advice. What is the one thing that you want people outside of the lighting design profession to know about our profession, or lighting in general? Can be as broad as you want.
Maybe in general, I would really love that we can share and exchange more on our profession, what we are able to do and what we are able to provide for the people out there. You know, people don't know that there is a lighting designer specifically doing good lighting for others. It's not about, you know, we are not creating just to have a good project or, you know, to win an award. It's just to really enhance people's environment. And I think I really want also architects to just as a contribution to their projects, for example. So I always tell them it's a plus for, and it's an added value for your work. It's not just a different work and not something that I have, you know, a different opinion on your design. It's just, I want to add value to your design because I think you are creating, for example, a good architecture, but I can enhance this architecture, maybe, hopefully,
Absolutely.
with lighting design and the good atmosphere, which is afterwards creating, you know, well-being for the people going to this architecture and using the architecture, like using the spaces.
And I think it's something that we are all hopefully trying to do. It's sort of walking this line of, you know, I hate to say like we're educating our clients, but there is something about the way that you approach a problem, and, you know, and you're with that sharing, hopefully comes a level of understanding that it would be great to have a lighting designer on this project. Like this is, it's absolutely essential for what I'm doing. Anyway, I think that's the hope of the IALD and all of us getting together and sharing stuff. So very good. So I have 3 finish the sentences that I'd like you to complete as I say them. So the first one is lighting design is.
Lighting design is the nicest and best profession you can choose for.
Love that. Lighting design impacts.
Lighting design impacts everyone from small kids to the old people. It's very important, and I think we are doing a great job.
Yeah, I agree. Lighting designers are.
Lighting designers are my best friends. They are my biggest inspiration and motivation. So whenever I go for a lighting event, it's not about the, you know, the topics. It's about the people. I'm going there because you're all an amazing group of people. I love all of you.
No, I miss them. I can't wait to get back to conferences and things.
Yes, me too.
Absolutely can't wait.
So much.
So does anyone in the audience have any Q&A that they want to ask? Anything that they want Luciana and I to chat about? And if not, I have my own.
I can see 2 people that I know from Switzerland. Nice that you switched on. We're gonna meet.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't see anything. Do you have questions?
No.
No. Okay, well, let's go with mine. Let's go with this last question here. So this is a big one. And Jess and Yulia, if you want to join us as well, you can. What did you miss the most during the last 2 years of the pandemic?
Yeah, definitely. If I'm going to answer this question, which is my favorite one, because I can tell you exactly what I missed the most. So why don't we just let Jess and Julia also join us, so we can see and everyone can see who are the chapter coordinators here.
Hi everyone.
So what I missed the most, everyone who knows me, and now also some of the IALD stuff will laugh a lot.
Absolutely.
Is the event, of course. What I said before is that I miss to, meet with all of you, and what happens in all those events, I always have met new friends and new people. And where did I meet them? The ones that I met and that I'm really friends with until today, good friends with, are the ones that I met on the floor. Like one of the ones that is not looking here and watching our interview, I met him in Den Haag in one of the conferences, and we danced together on the dance floor. So yes, I would say that's what I miss the most, dancing with all of you. And I hope you also miss it the most, to meet up and have fun with all of us. Have you ever joined one of these big parties, Sarah? I've never met you before. Why? When is our next dancing event?
Yes, our next dancing event, I'll be there. I really do cut it up after a tonic and lime. So, yeah, I miss that too. I kind of miss the spontaneous meeting people. Everybody is so open, sharing ideas. I miss all those things too. It's a very special community, the lighting design community. I think because there's so many people from all different walks of life, like we talked about. So I am absolutely looking forward to all of us getting together soon.
When will this be? Light and building or before?
I'm hoping to go to Light and Building, so that would be really nice.
Are you going to enlighten in Palm Springs?
I would also like to go to that one too. I guess that's a good thing about, being able to work for yourself, that you have that flexibility. But we'll see. Julia, do you have is there anything that you missed the last 2 years of the pandemic?
Yeah, definitely the people, like talking face to face to real people, not just only to the screen on a video conference call. I mean, that was anyway better than seeing no one, at least through the screen. But I mean, it's absolutely a different thing if you just meet in person or have a dance battle with Luciana on a dance floor. So yeah, so everybody knows now Alpine chapter coordinators having fun if they meet. No, it's really the people. I mean, as everybody knows, community and the energy you get standing also in front of an audience, giving a talk. It's absolutely a different thing if you are in front of a screen talking to yourself. Or really standing in a room with people, and same thing, just having a conversation in person. So really looking forward to, coming up for live events. Jess, what about you?
Yeah, I would say the same. I think what was so funny, a couple of months ago, we were doing this RFP tour. It was like a bunch of lighting design firms, like competitors, if you will. And we were all there, but we were all just talking to each other and being like, oh, how are you doing? It was so good to see everybody. And then the client or the owner was just like, oh, but you guys are competitors. We're like, oh, no. Like,
yeah, we are, but we're not.
Yeah, we were, but we're not. It was just so good to see everyone in person and still working and enjoying and talking about light. It was just something that was like it was a renewed sense of, I felt like a little bit before the pandemic happened, I feel like it was a little bit like, oh, like there was like a competitiveness or like, oh, they got that project or blah, blah, blah. Because DC can be a little competitive with that and with New York. So it was interesting at the end of it that we're all like 2 years later and we're all like, hey, how are you? Did you take the train up? It's so good to see you, that was nice.
Yeah. The reality is that there's enough projects for everyone. I mean, there really are. I think to Luciana's point about being able to really, spread the word of what lighting designers can do and are capable of, it really is a community, a design community. So maybe we look at it that way.
And if we look at it as an abundance, and not competitive, it's it's a better way to look at life and more optimistic and knowing that there is an abundance of projects, and especially if we heighten lighting design and the awareness, and then there will be more for everyone. But if we do have time, my question was just going to be for both of you being owning your own businesses. It's something that's, very, it would be scary starting out. I just didn't know if you had any advice or non-advice, the opposites of things that you guys had found kind of surprising about owning your own business.
Ooh. It's a good one. Well, I started my business in 2019, which I think was you couldn't have expected what happened with the, the pandemic over the last year, a couple of years. I also had a baby in 2020, fall of 2020. So that's been a very interesting, okay, the business is 3 years old, and I have an 18-month-old too. So growing both, babies at the same time. But I think actually Luciana and I have very similar ways about how we go about working, and probably similar to both you and Yulia too, because we're all very open people, and we sort of definitely look at opportunities, right? And I think that is very important. The one thing that I have really enjoyed or learned from is to really feel a sense of community, because as a sole business owner, it can, at the end of the day, it's on your shoulders. And so the more people that you can realize that are also doing a similar thing, I think is really important to keep that drive, and stay passionate about what it is and why you set out to do what you did. So I think that's kind of been one of my big takeaways, that people say, but owning a business can be lonely, but there's a lot of people that have done it. And, I've really thanked this community, both lighting design community and just the design community in DC a lot for also being open to a new business. So I
would say my advice would be just be very sure if you want to go for it. Ask yourself why you want to do it, and why you think is a good decision, or why is it a good way, and why is it a different way as well of being employed somewhere else. I think, for example, for me, it was just a matter of time, because I always wanted to have my own office. Right after finishing my studies, I thought, okay, I will have my own office, but it's just, I think, a matter also of yourself, personality, just be sure why also, again, reflect, whatever you do, reflect. Because I think if you reflect, then you find the good conviction for it. And then whatever comes before, problems like the pandemic, whatever, you will handle this, because and you're very, very, I would say, consequent with your idea.
Yeah.
That gives you the most energy, I think.
And it does take a lot of energy. It's definitely a long game. I think you realize that, it's the deadlines and timing. And so I really appreciated what you said, Luciana, about decision making and how you, go about a project and things like that. It's very, very important to remind ourselves. So
if you have to work until late, what I do is just, okay, I will have a break. First, never forget proper food. Very important. And second, dance. I mean, it's not about the dance, and it's not about the music style. It's about the relaxation of your muscles and your body. When your body is moving a lot, you can just, clear your mind, and then you have full energy to continue some more hours. At least I do.
Yeah.
Which is a problem. I should stop dancing.
Just remember to dance. I like that.
Never forget to dance.
The secret energy boost. Turn on the radio and have a dance.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for this interview, for getting to know you, Sarah, which I didn't know before. It's nice. I hope we can meet someone in lifetime.
I hope so too, in person.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah and Luciana, for enlightening us for today on your conversation, giving some insights on your life and your experiences. It was very interesting and fun, as always. And Sarah, hope to see you in person soon, somewhere on the dance floor, as we now learned today. And thanks, Jess, for the introduction, and hope to see you there somewhere soon as well. And everyone out there, be sure to join us again for the next Designers by Designers on the 21st of April. I'm really looking forward to this. And where Luciana will be interviewing Faye Greenhawk from the Melbourne chapter in Australia. Really looking forward to this. And registrations to join us on Zoom will be open soon, of course. You can always join us on Facebook Live to rewatch this session and the previous sessions of all the Designers by Designers series so far. And also you can watch them on the IALD's video YouTube channel to watch on demand. So make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel as well. And thanks again to our sponsors supporting this initiative. Really great. And also to our today's audience for watching and staying tuned. See you next time and have fun.